morning, afternoonish, wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this. My name is Jonas Mekadocious. This is my co-host, Ron, the Freight Train Hodgin. How you doing today, sir?
Spectacular.
Fantastic. We are about to embark on yet another Bluejuju Podcast. And
yes.
If you're not familiar with the Bluejuju Podcast, few are.
Yeah.
But
it's like fine wine. It's rare.
Well, yeah, that's true. But anyway, what we do is we basically we get on the internet, we find some stories that we think just stand out and weird and obscene, if you will, and then we bring them right here for your viewing pleasure. And we go ahead and get started. We break it down in categories. First category, headlines.
Headlines we deem important.
Yes. And there's no lack of headlines. There's a dearth of
It was a pretty good amount this week, I'll have to admit.
Yep. I came through. I mean, I perused around the internet, went here and there, had sidetracks, and still it was relatively easy to find. And the craziness just goes on. There's a worldwide epidemic of crazy.
Well, I think the problem is the spread of information wasn't as viable, say, like 20 years ago.
Okay.
So I think that this has always been going on.
Your theory.
And you know, it also goes back to, you know, family secrets. That's the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Is like, you used to have family secrets. You don't have family secrets anymore.
That's true.
You know, it's out there, and so we capitalize on it and bring it to you.
Yeah, just as a side note, you're exactly right. They said that there's more people into genealogy today, and every year the percentage goes up, and it's a substantial percent. I forget what it was, 15, 13%, something like that. And every year that goes up, the people searching for their genealogical past, and sometimes they don't like what they find. And I'm going to say that there's probably horse thieves and worse in everybody's genealogical past. I'm just going to...
I'm sure.
Yeah, you know.
But I was talking about, like, you know, I don't know. I guess they... Mike's on the fritz. There we go.
There you go.
No, I mean, I was just saying that they used to have, you know, quote-unquote...
family
secrets they kept in the family,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you don't have that anymore. Everybody just opens their mouth and out it comes, and it's blasted down the internet, and we get to capitalize on it.
Right. We get the rewards of dumb. How's that?
Wow.
We investigate. Okay. I'll get into it. On Qantas flight from flying from Sydney to Auckland, New Zealand, Waylon Mullins was told by the stewardess that he needed to change his shirt because the passengers were afraid of his shirt. And what it was, he was wearing a shirt from a 1980s romance film, The Princess Bride. And it's an infamous line. I'm not a cult follower. I have never heard the line before, but he had like a hello tag, and it was silk screen printed on his shirt, and it was large enough for everybody to read. And it said, "Hello, my name is Inago Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Everybody, okay. Except the Luddite Ron, he's never seen the film, but now they got my interest because I'm going to go back and see that film. I must see it now because they wanted him to change his shirt. They were afraid of him. And at first, the passenger, Waynard, he was incredulous. He couldn't believe it, you know. And then he looked at the stewardess and said, "Well, you know what? I don't have another shirt that I can change out of. If it really, really bothers all of you or a portion of you, then find me a shirt and I'll change my shirt. Perhaps I could wear the captain's shirt." And after searching around and ascertaining that no shirts can be found, or the passengers would not divvy up a shirt, or they just dropped the matter, and he went on into the flight continued without incident. And they said that the incident was not recorded in the flight log, but he alerted people to its existence. So
it's questionable if it ever even happened at all.
Well, just like everything else on the internet, we could be robots.
We are robots.
We are robots. I don't know. Nikola Tesla thought that we were all meat machines, that all of our actions were predetermined.
And he was a genius. See,
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
You can't argue with him. He was a genius. But that was one of his anomalies of the personality. I particularly don't think so, because I think there are too many possibilities in the universe. Maybe multiverses there are, but...
Well, you know what you get when you assume. You make an ass out of me and an ass out of you.
Well, when I said kidding. I assume, I didn't ask.
No, that's a saying.
I know.
People say
but I was making the assumption.
Yes, I know.
That's
why I said it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
No. But I don't know. Tough call. They're ever vigilant stewardess in the skies today. Apparently, they don't want to offend anybody. But I understand to a certain degree, because you are trapped on a
airplane.
Well, you can't really go anywhere. You are trapped in that space for a set amount of time, 6 hours or 21 hours or however
long.
But so I guess there is a error of caution that should be pursued.
Well, my point is that if they were that worried about it, they saw him while he was boarding.
Yeah, well, they cook people off for being too fat too,
Yeah.
Whatever.
but why did they wait till he was on the plane to make the complaint? I mean, they couldn't read except close up. Whatever. Well, it's just the stupidity. My other one deals with stupidity too. But what else is new, right?
All right. Well, in Florida, I'm going right for the jugular on this one. There was a gentleman, Carney, if you will. And he just they never say in the article what possessed this man to do such a thing, but the title of the story is was it naked masturbating something or other, I can't remember. But anyway, the story goes this gentleman is just happened to be a Carney. He went just berserk, I guess, and these people, these nice people, Gregory Matthew Burney, that was the offender, actually.
Carney guy.
The Carney. He got on these people's roofs, and they were called the Myers. So he was on the Myers roof, and then...
of their ride?
What's that?
Of the ride?
Their house.
Their house, okay.
Yeah.
He was away from the carnival.
Right.
He was a Carney.
He's just a Carney by trade, sir.
Carney by trade.
That's
all right.
right.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And anyway, he's on top of their house, and he... starts making a lot of noise, obviously, so it attracts attention of these fine folks. And as soon as they start yelling at him, like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" This kind of thing, and he's naked. So they get him off the roof, and he runs inside their house.
Okay.
Right. And as soon as he runs inside their house, he starts to let's see here. Heard a noise like thunder. I want to say it because it's funny. Okay, it goes into. He pulls the big screen TV off the wall, and then he spilled the contents of a vacuum on the floor. Around this time, Lana Meyer grabbed a handgun and began to fire at the nude intruder. Well, she missed. So they called 911, and she says on the 911 call, "I don't know who the hell this is. This naked man ran into my damn house." Tony could be heard saying something on the recording. Tony is the other Meyer. Anyway, when the authorities got there,
right.
The Bernie, who's this last guy's last name, began whacking the mole. That's what they called it.
Whacking the mole. Yes. We know what was
That's
going
right.
on.
In the living room before heading into the son's bedroom to rub some clothes on his face. And then the deputies arrived in the room. So he found him wildly flailing on the ground and speaking nonsense. They also discovered that Bernie had defecated on the floor and consumed the contents of the vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
So they took him in. Obviously, they put him in a mental health facility, and they were at the time of the report. They were going to do a toxicology on him to try to figure out what this man was on, if anything. Maybe he just lost his fucking nut. I don't know. But the carny life is hard, and what are you gonna do? I guess.
I'm gonna say that they get paid in bath salts.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but Barney, okay, the contents of the vacuum, because they keep on going back to the vacuum.
To the vacuum,
that's right. But apparently when he first got into the house, he dumped the contents out. And then when the police arrived, he started consuming the vacuum, the contents, and then spitting them back up.
Oh.
So he was a naked, masturbating, defecating carny that consumed
vacuum
dirt
material.
But there you go. That's Florida for you.
There's the dirt on that situation.
What are you gonna do? That's Florida.
Yeah, that's a classic. It's in some ways it's rather benign because he didn't try to eat anybody's face off. He didn't try to attack anybody.
Well, there was an account the other day too. There was a kid huffing like pine salt or something.
Yeah.
That kid went absolutely fucking nuts too. And then he didn't get arrested for anything because he didn't hurt anybody, and he was in a house with friends, like his roommates or something like that. But he got naked and he did all kinds of weird shit and then when the cops finally kind of subdued him, because he wasn't hurting anybody, he was just acting crazy, speaking nonsense and everything. And the kid, when they handcuffed him, put his hands behind his back, he spread his butt cheeks and said, "Who wants some?" But they also put him into a hospital as well. But I don't know if that occurred in Florida or not. But over the weekend, people just lost their.
They were going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But that's what hardcore chemicals will do to you. So.
Man, you found a good one there. That's a classic.
It is classic. I thought it was good.
I
was surprised that you didn't get to it first. Actually, I was kind of.
You were worried.
I was looking over your computer. I was like, nope, hadn't found it. All right.
Yeah, I was busy with the Lord of the Flies here.
Yeah, fair
enough. Now, this is not the first time it's happened, but apparently the commander-in-chief there, the POTUS, has a problem with flies in his press conferences. It says this is not the first time it's happened, but here we have a picture of the president with a wonderfully placed fly right in the middle of his forehead. Very nice, but he did happen to swat the fly later, so he got it later. So everybody was very impressed with his fly killing prowess.
Yes, I have heard this story before.
Yeah,
very similar one actually. I believe we even commented on it on one of our previous podcasts.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Man, there's so many of them. The previous incident happened in 2009, but this is a recent one. And the picture is classic if anybody wants to look at it. It's President Obama with the fly in the middle of the forehead. It's a goodie.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I got another one. It is, you know how lawyers, they charge for everything.
Uh-huh.
And, well, apparently this lawyer, he really did charge for everything. He was...
charged for everything.
Everything. He, apparently was having an affair with one of his clients.
Oh.
And, he, as this was, it was not looked, obviously this is frowned upon in his firm. So everything was kept quiet. Well, when when the lawyer tried to break it off with his client, the woman tried to commit suicide.
Uh-huh.
So and then spilled the beans about the whole thing. So, but in the billing statement that he had given to her, he charged her for everything that he had legally done, and then also the time that they were having sex. So she technically charged her for just every minute they spent together, basically. And And then so he's been released from his firm, but this wasn't his first tango with I guess interfering with clients or mixing business with pleasure. Apparently, in 1997, he also bought cocaine from one of his clients, and he was I guess got in trouble for that.
I guess,
but he didn't get fired apparently because he went on to have an assorted affair with this lady.
Wow.
But yeah, he charged basically, just charging for sex.
Well, that just proves that most lawyers are paid whore liars. he was charging her for gigolo service. Yeah.
Right.
He
brought up
he was the lawyer whore.
Being brought up on charges of prostitution.
Yeah. Actually, yes, he can be brought up for charges of prostitution because...
Yeah, it's stretching a little bit.
Oh, no. You can, if I was a lawyer and somebody gave me the case, I'd go for that. That would be good.
Yeah.
He got paid for it. What is that?
Yeah, but
he's not a sex.
He was getting
sex
paid
there.
for. He was getting paid for his time, though. His services.
Most prostitutes do.
But
okay.
His legal fees, if you will.
Little incidentals,
It wouldn't hold up in court. No, I'm pretty sure. You could poke a lot of holes in that.
Well, I don't know. I would go look at the legal definition of prostitution, and I don't know. I mean, not being a lawyer and all, but
I don't think he's in any legal trouble though, because it's not illegal,
it's not
to
prostitute yourself while collecting legal fees.
Yeah, it
says a lot about the system.
Well, then you could say that on anything. Say if you're an entrepreneur, and you just so happen, and so I mean, all your time is spent. You're making money for yourself. So, and then you have a client. So any time that you have sex, and if that person just so happens to pay you, then it's prostitution. It's a slippery slope. And so that's all I'm saying. You get.
Okay. Well, I have my reservations and my attitudes toward that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're moving on. And you know what's next? Space news.
Oh, yeah.
And technology.
Space news
and technology.
Oh, yeah. We got a good one.
Lead us off, sir.
Now, this one slipped by. This is actually ancient news, and please don't tell me that you covered it before and I didn't remember it. All right? You're going to do that, aren't you?
I
don't know. Okay. It's from 2001, but I thought it was rather interesting anyway. It's a robot, a self-powering robot, and it's called the Slug Bot. And it sneaks stealthily up on slugs, grabs them, puts them in its digester, and runs off slugs that it captures and bioconsumes. A stealthy, horrible robot in the world.
I suppose if you had a problem with slugs, that would be your answer.
The Slug Bot.
That's right, the Slug Bot.
I'm thinking that they're looking at Terminator robots like this,
Instead of slugs, it's human beings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst kind of Terminator.
It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. Yeah, fear the bot.
That's right. The singularity is a thing.
Well, listen, they said that they picked on slugs because they were easy to catch. I guess.
Yeah,
they
I guess they would
sneak up on them.
Yeah, at a robot speed. Let's see here. This one jumped out at me. Apparently, I figured you'd like this one too,
okay.
So I went ahead and did this. A piece of, let's see here, I guess it was magnesium and aluminum. So it was 98% aluminum and 2% magnesium. And it's a space-age sprocket. Yeah, I figured you had it. I didn't know you had it, but I figured you did.
Okay.
But anyway, this it was found in a piece of coal that was 300 million years old.
Yes.
And so they're saying that they don't know where it came from, and they say it's probably from aliens. Right to the alien theory.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. I don't know how something like this would get into a piece of coal. or if it was placed there or whatever. But interesting nonetheless. If it's if it's found to be, not a lie,
right?
Then it'll be pretty cool.
Right. It's pretty amazing. I'll expand on it a little bit. Down the article, and this is mine too, so we're just gonna have to share it. Down the article a little bit, we have a professional debunker who, no doubt makes her living by, casting wrenches in the gears of anomalies, which this definitely is. It was basically refined aluminum. It was very high percentage aluminum. I think it was
98%.
98% aluminum, which is not found in nature. It's no way is it found in nature. It was in a gear shape, and it was embedded in a lump of coal. But here we have a professional debunker. That's what I would call her, and who goes by the name of I Doubt It. I guess that's her handle. Okay.
Well, she's right, probably like 99% of the time.
Well, yeah, she is. A great. Okay, it depends on the case that she takes. She can be 99% wrong, and the other 1% she's totally right on 99, and the other 1%, which is the one that really matters, she can be totally wrong. So what she does is she points to the things that are obviously patently false and says, well, look at my track record. Well, your track record doesn't mean anything in outstanding discoveries. She says there are so many red flags, you should discard it entirely. And she goes on to say, okay, well, here are red flags. 1, why is it not published in a journal? Well, yeah, yeah. Why is it not published in a journal? She considers that her being a scientist, that every piece of knowledge that is worth anything is published in a journal. I put forth the fact that maybe this guy is afraid to publish it in a journal, but because like so many other artifacts that have been discovered, they have a tendency, if they don't fit mainstream science and the mainstream point of view, they have a tendency to disappear. This is an ongoing thing over, not just this century, the last century, but the century before, and probably for a long time before that. Okay, why wasn't it published in a journal? Okay, we've kind of covered that. We have no reason to accept the man's word for it. Well, he went to a scientist. So I guess if you wanted to say that, you want to look at credentials, we should look at the credentials of the scientist and not the fact that it wasn't published in a journal. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't a scientist.
Hmm?
He wasn't a scientist.
Well,
he was let's see here. He was a biologist or something like that.
Oh, that's a scientist.
Not really.
Not really? Okay. All right. Well,
Well, I mean, I guess, but that was his field of science, I suppose. But anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, biology was his field of science, but there's science is not one thing or another. It doesn't just have little compartments that you say, okay.
Well, nonetheless, carry on. I was just trying to help you out.
All right. Okay. Where he found it and how he discovered it. Well, it doesn't really matter to the specimen itself. He can tell you where it came from, and he can, if they want documentation, then what they do is they take a coal sample of where it came from and they match it to the piece of coal that he had. So, that's easily doable. Why speculate on the alien origin of aluminum? Well, it's not the fact that it was aluminum. It was the fact of that it was in the purity that it was found at and the shape that it was found at. She goes on, this is not part of a gear. My question to her is, how would you know without examining it? You've said, you've brought out the, questions about its validity and everything else like that. But you can't say that without examining the specimen.
But she did.
Huh?
But she did say it.
But yeah, she did say it. So that
You
you
just
know, her
debunked, sir.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said that she couldn't.
Well, she couldn't say it and be a scientist because scientists don't
Nah. Well, here's my
work
take
on conjecture; they work on fact.
Well, here's my take on it.
Okay.
Yes, it's her job to do this. It's her job to throw up all the possibilities that it can't be. Because if you just jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh yeah," well then you're duped 99% of the time.
Well,
So
this is true.
And also, we're going back to the biologist thing. Shouldn't you take it to a geologist, someone that would know the type of materials that it was studying? And also, he said it was found in the Pamora region,
Yeah.
which is, and it just happens to be 300 million years old, and
Yeah.
well, and which is fine. But they say that the animals didn't even evolve into dinosaurs yet at that point. So I mean, you're looking at a barren wasteland that hasn't even started photosynthesis at this point. So basically. And they should examine the rest of that region, like wherever that piece was mined from. And if there's anything else to support this small piece that they found, then there should be a bigger piece. And then that would,
Well,
that would lend some validity to it.
The specimen itself was pretty small, and it was photographed, before the gear was removed.
Well, and they
afterwards.
also jump to pretty wild conclusions. They take this. I mean, I'm saying it's cool, and I want to believe in it. But what I'm also saying is people run with these kind of stories and they make them bigger than
Right.
they are. As soon as they examine this gear-like piece that was found in the coal, they immediately jump to saying that it's the type of gear that would be found in a microscope, and that is a wild conclusion to draw from a not very small. I mean, it is small, but it's not.
Mhm.
But so basically, what they're saying is that we had something 300 million years ago that was had left a microscope. Why a microscope?
Well, I'm not gonna conjecture on what this thing came from. And I'm not going to conjecture whether it's real or not, but I'm just looking at what this person says, the debunker says, and how she says it. My big beef is that she categorically says it's not part of a gear without examining it, without any more to do. She dismisses it, but she can't do that because she hasn't looked at it. And then she goes on.
Well, she had to seen pictures or something of it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how she's debunking it. But she says it's not part of a gear, and then she goes on. This is a natural crystalline formation, I'd say. Ooh, science, crystalline formation. Excuse me, I've never seen. I've seen rock crystals and all kinds of crystals. They never ever. I've seen form a gear shape. I would like to, since she says that it's a crystalline formation, I would like for her to show me a similar crystalline formation.
Well, we'll just get her on the phone.
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to talk to us.
She'll be happy to show you her proof, I guess. But no, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's a crystal. I don't think it's a crystal of any sort. Obviously, it's aluminum and 2% magnesium, which they say it's man-made. Okay, so you have two different theories. It's either something from the present time, or something from a past time. So the first one sounds more logical. So
yeah, and then she goes from being technically dry to trying to be hip. and then she goes this, but as following the typical template for these stories, the extreme speculative and dynamic interpretation is hyped over any consideration of an actual explanation. It's sad because it could be cool. Now she asks like she's disappointed that she's made conclusions on basically not examining it. So she's that entire sentence there is it's just a dance up and down and around the logic that she is dealing with the whole situation.
So you just have a problem with this lady then. You just don't
I
like
do.
her.
Well, I do have a problem with her because
well, she's no different than me and you commenting on it, apparently. You know.
Well,
so I mean, really, I mean, she's just making an opinion about something that she doesn't know about, like we're doing right now.
Right. Well, I would, you know, one thing I will say in her favor, all these things are taken out of context because I don't have the entire, you know, thing that she said, and I don't have all the information that was presented there either. But for her to categorically dismiss it, you know, I would like some, you know, instead of speculation, and she considers this and she considers that, but she doesn't look at any of the possible evidence. She just dismisses it and calls it, you know, a farce, and then says, "Wow, if it was real, it'd be cool."
Yeah, but also if you step back from the whole thing,
yeah,
what does it mean?
Well,
absolutely fucking nothing. It's like, you know, there's not enough evidence to draw any kind of conclusion that it would change our, you know, our way of life or the way our history in any way. And now, like I said, if they would examine this area a little bit more and found something that was a little bit more substantial,
yeah,
you know, that they could piece together that says like, hey, you know, there was something here, you know,
right?
Like, and then, you know, then that'd be a cool story. But at this point, we have a piece of a metal that people think might be a gear that was used in a microscope.
Well,
so
she's not saying that it's not aluminum. She doesn't say that, you know, oh, well, this is not aluminum. She's just saying it's just a piece of aluminum that's a crystalline structure. Apparently, she's not disagreeing in the fact that it was aluminum. So, you know, but she is disagreeing in that, you know, it is not a natural. It's an extra or unnatural phenomenon.
What a bitch.
Well,
no,
I'm not,
I just,
you know, I'm just looking at her logic.
No, I understand. But like I said, that's what she does with her job. You know, she's a professional debunker.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Yeah. But moving on.
Doubtfulnews.com. Yes, she is a professional debunker, and the article that we're talking about is found on the Huffington Post. You did Huffington Post and 300 million year old gear, you would come to the article.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think we spent enough time on this one, sir. And,
I want to go on now.
Yeah, I know you do. Just beat this into the ground. Say what a bitch this lady is.
Bitch.
Anyway, we're going to go on to our next category. And our next category just so happens to be strangest state in the union.
Oh.
And now, the strangest state in the union.
Showtime.
Okay.
I don't remember what I picked. So.
Okay.
So
well, you got some time. This kind of goes along with the New Zealand flight there, going back to New Zealand. The guy on the airplane getting called out because of his shirt. A girl was taken out of class, searched, talked to, probably disapproved of, because some little snitch boy.
What state are we at?
Yeah, huh?
What state?
State. Oh, Philadelphia.
Okay, it's Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania. So she gotten in trouble for having a paper gun in her satchel, and a little boy. She was in elementary school, so I guess she's probably 6 or under. 5th grader, Melody Valentine. She was searched, reprimanded, scolded for having a paper gun in her satchel there. She saw it in her satchel, and she decided that she was going to throw it away. So when she opened her satchel and apparently threw it away or was about to throw it away. A little snoopy little boy came up and says, "Gun, gun," and caused a little hysteria. And she said that she told the boy it's a paper gun, but he wouldn't listen and ratted on her and got her into all kinds of trouble. And then she was, sent to the principal's office. I think, I mean, the stupidity just goes on and gets greater and greater. It's just like a snowball,
So that's what you got?
Yeah. These.
All right.
You're confident now, huh?
Yep.
Well, you might have. Man, I don't know.
All right. A man in Utah.
Utah. Okay.
That's right. A man in Utah. He was arrested by an officer for being, I believe it was drunk and intoxicated, whatever. But apparently he hurt himself in the process, and so he was taken to the hospital. So
Right.
while he was in custody, apparently there was a physician at the hospital that, and he was handcuffed and in a whatever gown, whatever it was. Apparently, while he was incoherent and unconscious, back and forth, I guess, there was a physician that said, or he says there was a physician that gave him unsolicited oral sex while he was handcuffed and the policeman watched. And into further investigation of this, the physician was arrested for a felony sexual offense, and now the man is suing the police officer for letting it happen.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, I don't know what the moral of that story is, but basically the man, he got a little drunk and out of control. He was going to go to the drunk tank, but instead they took him to the hospital where he got sodomized, apparently. And yes. And then and also they after the incident, apparently the physician was allowed back in and forth of the hospital